All right, all right, all right. Welcome to At Your Service, episode number 5. My name is Uncle Barry.
And I'm yours truly, Heppenstall.
Live from Nairobi, Golden Hour. We're recording this on the Easter weekend, so happy Easter to everyone.
And
Yeah.
happy egg hunting for those who can spot a few Easter eggs.
Oh, yeah.
You know, I've never seen actually places go hard on like an egg hunt. Like, let's just say hotels and restaurants. Do you know
dedication.
any?
I know. I remember just last year we kind of did something. You know, we had them. I'd rather say bootleg than fake. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but hunting really, that's a whole culture. It depends. But I think
mean, yeah.
just the entire day we seeing lots of people with, palm trees and everything.
Yeah.
You know,
oh,
so-
it was Palm Sunday too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was on my way somewhere and I decided I saw this lady with lots of palm trees. So I asked for one and showed me 50 shillings. But I kept it moving.
Wait.
I'm like, why are you selling this today? And just less than 30 meters, there's like a whole palm tree, bro.
I hate that they've made religion commercial.
No, I mean, okay, do you know what else is commercial? Service.
Oh,
You gotta pay for it.
Oh, hey, that's an important aspect.
Yeah.
They've sourced it.
Yeah, I
They've
mean-
picked I don't want to say the
Yes.
best buds, but
It's
a bud, right? It's actually a
solving
bud,
a
yeah.
problem, literally. I mean, no,
Yeah.
I see.
but what does that say of you?
I didn't have cash on me, and I didn't have the time to, M-Pesa, Pochi, and all that.
I don't like the convenience this thing is bringing in religion, because this thing's supposed to be a pilgrimage. I think it would be more meaningful if people went and climbed palm trees and got their palm. You know, be like, this is the palm that has spoken to me.
Okay, I see. Oh,
Right?
I see.
Oh, maybe I'm leaning too much into it, but
Maybe, but there's an art to be just generally everything,
yeah.
Literally, what we're doing right here, this is just a piece of art.
That's right.
So I think the beauty is just the progress in how this is happening.
Absolutely.
I could actually tie this to the first topic I'm seeing on the board.
Sure.
Customer retention and everything.
Yeah.
There's just a step in a way.
It
and
is.
most of it happened organically, but there's still a way to, lay things down and make sure they come back and hopefully stay there and be part of your institution and community at large, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
While you say customer retention,
Okay.
there is a second part to it. Is it customer retention on your clients? I mean, if you were to choose, would you rather have someone
That's a nice question. Do you
come
know
back?
why? Because I enjoy serving first-time customers.
Me too.
Somebody who knows nothing about the brand, never heard of it, just literally just showed up and they don't know which way to go. I enjoy being around these people because I always feel like I'm gonna give you a nice introduction into what we're about. And if what we're about, it's really about the feeling, how I'm going to lay it down, I'm going to make you a part of it and just, make your presence be as important as you had to be here.
Exactly.
Yeah, but okay, the retention part now comes after. I feel like I thought about this anyway, because I feel like the memory is really what brings the customer, the new one, or retain them as well, or even the second person. Because there are a lot of repeat guests who had a bad experience, but benefit of doubt. Let me just show up.
Yeah.
I love the oysters. I'm just going back for that.
Yeah.
Regardless of robotic surface they might have experienced.
And that's a client retained.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think maybe for me enjoying serving new guests, new clients, I'll say making sure a first-time guest comes back is joy to me.
It truly is. It means you struck the right chord.
Yeah.
And it means, what can you say? Assured revenue. Because it's very fleeting.
Yeah.
It's very fleeting. One moment you're up, the next moment you're down. But I was looking at it from a different angle as well.
Okay.
There's such a thing as, there's that saying that says familiarity breeds contempt. And I get it. There's a point where the clients might reach a point where they feel entitled because they've been such a part of the journey.
Yeah.
And they start making changes that only water down or kind of, you're making your own experience outside from what was curated. and you feel the entitlement because of how much you've grown to be part of it. And I know this
Yeah.
could be twofold. There are people who would want it that way, not change it. That's
Yeah.
why they're coming back.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
That's why they will go for that order since way back.
I see.
There's that, I saw a video of, I think, I don't know if it's Costco, one of these large chains of
Yeah, I know
either
Costco.
restaurant or
Yeah.
and I think it's Costco. The guy was enjoying a hot dog that had maintained its price of $1.50.
Since when?
I don't know which year, but it's probably 100 years. There's probably a soldier who had
Yeah.
the hot dog $1.50
Some
for going for
some
a World War.
vet.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Thank you for
yeah,
your
yeah.
service.
I know. Service. I mean, these things
Crazy.
write themselves. But you see, yeah, there's that.
Nice.
There's the retention part that comes with entitlement.
Yeah.
And there is the new clients that come with a blank slate, and therefore anything is a potential yes or hard no.
True.
So you're not so sure what will land. It
Yeah.
depends on first impressions and how you deliver the
Yeah.
product to them, because they have no expectations.
True.
It's twofold.
I was gonna touch on expectations because I feel like they never tell us of the expectations, unless maybe they throw it in a way that, hey, I've heard nice things about you guys. You know, that kind of like shakes you up a bit.
Yeah, you kind of have to be on your best behavior,
Yeah,
best foot
rather
forward.
than letting things just happen organically. Let service just flow in an, I don't know, just such an organic way.
True.
Yeah, because it should not be like, what's the word? I'm looking for a word, but I feel like when they have zero expectations, it's easy to
Impress.
wow them and do this and all that. And even when you talk about familiarity breeding contempt, and a guest coming to a sport 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times,
Yeah.
and they feel like, okay, now I can hand some discounts.
Yeah.
There are establishment that every employee is entitled to, they can offer a discount to a guest.
True.
But there's always a limit to it. And
Yeah.
most people are sort of like, they leave that to, like the leadership or like the main person to, like give the go ahead.
Yeah.
Like you can literally just say, okay, since you don't like this, I think we're gonna scrap it off your bill.
No,
it doesn't just work like that.
There are people who will rake up a bill and say we didn't like anything over here. But hey, I I was working late night, and there's something about late night clients other than the fact that they are hammered and therefore all jokes fly.
Yeah.
So I just yeah.
Man, I think I just love the work we do.
Me too.
Yeah, because when I also give you my experience of night shift, it's sort of different. It only depends.
It's very different. Yeah.
Because most of it, let's say like 2 a.m. in the morning. That's like, it's definitely night. A flight landing at that time, and a guest checking in at that time. They're pretty much tired, presumably from my
Yeah.
point of view. For example, if you ask them where they're from and they tell you something like Australia, that's like a 24-hour flight, to Nairobi. So generally you're kind of already wired that this person has very limited time. I'm
Yeah.
trying to make it as fast as possible, but still deliver.
Yes.
And when you say late night, there are these people who are like, they're just hopping. They're just hopping from one spot to the next.
That's
and
right.
The energy's on the roof. So
It is.
and you're here, you're grumpy, you're gloomy. It's probably your fourth night. You can't wait for the last check-in so we could, take a just ease and everything.
It's so crushing.
There's a lot involved. Yeah.
But the energy, what you say is what's important. So
Yeah.
it could be your fourth night, but the people, the way they walk in,
Yeah.
the way you connect with them,
Yeah.
really changes everything. This
Yeah.
group, I touch tables and all that, and I realized I could crack a joke or so, and I was like, "Hey, you guys, any complaints? Am I giving a discount tonight?" And there's like, "Well, there's complaints, and we might just take those discounts."
Oh.
And I was
Now that
like,
you said it,
yeah, we're like, okay. I hear you. And that kind of broke the ice in such a way
Yeah.
that they had an expectation, but they were also open to, let's say, if we've made a mistake.
Yeah.
We're not that hard to please is what I got from that statement.
Yeah.
Yeah.
True.
And
Very flex. man.
Yes. And I also have a saying for expectation, by the way. This is,
Okay.
I got this way back.
From Phil Dunphy?
No. Shout out to my big bro, Kevin.
Okay.
This was actually during national exams. And I was really stressed. And by the way, I really owe a lot to him. That guy, having someone ahead of you
Yeah.
that shows you the parts and all
Been there,
that.
done that.
Yeah, I mean, it's such a path on a very rocky road. And I remember the last day he told me, "Hey, relax. This is what I'm going to tell you.
Yeah.
Expect nothing, and you won't be disappointed.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you cannot expect nothing. That's like a trait you need to train yourself. You're like,
Yeah.
you obviously went through the internet. You've obviously heard things.
Mm-hmm.
You've obviously felt like, hey, people are not chatting about this record, this movie,
I see.
this fashion trend, this app, and I'm going in with an expectation of I'm probably going to be wowed.
Yeah.
There always is an expectation, but
True.
that really separates the retained client and the new one.
Yeah.
The retained one already has an expectation, whether you like it or
Yeah,
not.
yeah.
They probably even have a spot.
Sort of lock them in a way, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The new one doesn't have any, but they kind of have. So they're going with the flow. So anything could be pleasant or
Yeah.
otherwise.
Yeah, so it depends on your bag of tricks, you know. What do you have? What's gonna retain this new client? And when you say expectations, it takes me to like, you know, those new first time customers who have, you know, zero expectations. They're just trying to go with the flow.
Yeah.
They usually tend to have the best times.
Absolutely.
You know, because every little aspect of surprise, you know, kind of wows them.
It's just something for the
And
books.
I hate to touch there on this. Shouts to Michael B. Jordan. He won his Oscar
Yeah.
for, I think, best character on film or something like that
Sinners.
for the movie Sinners.
Yeah.
Bro, I didn't like that movie. Based on, like, I got so many recommendations and, you know, so many people spoke highly of it. So I went in with, you know, lots of expectations. I'm waiting for punchlines every second.
Yeah.
You know, I love the twins and everything and all that. Some of the scenes were, you know, beauty.
Dope. Yeah.
But I still felt like I was sort of underwhelmed in a way.
I see.
Because my expectations were on the roof.
Exactly.
You know. So it happens both ways.
I never understand anyone who's overselling something. And that also brings a very important point. I think guys are like, which is your best seller? And I'm like, wait, no, this is, I'm not touching this
Yeah.
because whatever works for me is not going to work for you.
True.
So I always tell them I'm recommending from past experiences and,
Uh-huh.
and that. And then you lower down the
Yeah.
expectation,
Yeah.
but over deliver.
Yeah.
Yeah.
True.
So this is what I'll do. I'm going to make a stance. Give me new clients. I can turn them to retaining clients.
Okay.
Retaining clients kind of have a grip of a brand and they kind of tend to dictate the way you should go.
Yeah.
And we've seen that with major brands. Did you see the rebrand with Jaguar and how the people who were driving Jaguar before felt like they were underwhelmed with the neon colors, the smooth edges? It's lost its masculine grip and menacing look to some, what can I call it? Like a palette of colors that probably Canva would use for their 2027 whatever mood board.
Release.
Yeah. And no hate to that, but
Yeah.
I feel like that is the short end of the stick of retaining clients who you've retained them and they're accustomed to something.
Yeah.
You can turn a new client into a retained client.
True.
You cannot change a client you've retained into new experiences because
Yeah.
they will tell you, I never wanted this. We literally spoke about that with a brand of
Yeah.
beer,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Like, who asked for this?
Or even days after you already know something about them, you already clearly know they never need no wake up call.
I
You
mean,
know, they like
yeah.
to sleep in. You know, like you already know them, the
Yes.
retained ones, you know.
Yes.
And I also feel like that's also a nice way to retain the new ones.
Absolutely.
With the getting personal, you know, knowing where they're from.
Exactly.
Knowing their birthdays and all that.
Yes.
You know, because probably the birthday's in May and this stays in February, but chances are they might come back later. And actually, I don't know if these guys tell, but mostly when we're having conversations from my end, I feel like most of it comes from the accommodation part of things, from the rooms division, I should say. You know, like the in-house experience. And
Yes.
that's the best way to explain it.
Yes,
Like the
yes.
full house in experience. Because I feel like those are some of the things that, you know, because, you know, going back to, you know, working night shift, you know, clocking at, checking at 2 in the morning, and you open the passports, read the name, see where this guy is from, and if it's a place you know, a place is known for something, you start chatting them about that. You
Start
just
from
read
there.
home. you know, they feel already like I'm home. You know where I'm from, bro.
Exactly.
Like, how do you know that?
Yeah.
Sometimes they don't even care about how you even know that. The fact that you know it just marvels them and, you know, sets the mood. Next thing, you know, they say hi to you like they know you because they're already starting to belong.
You know that scares me. You want to know why? Any stranger can figure out something about you
Yeah.
and start from there, and you will let go of all your defenses.
Yeah.
And before you know it, you're already in. You're
Yeah.
in on the con. You're in
Yeah,
on that.
true.
Yeah, but I like how we are a trust society, because without it, there's nothing that's
Yeah.
happening.
Literally. I
Yes.
mean, that's just a K in the entire industry from, you know, from the customer and the service provider point of view.
It's a constant.
It's a K. And I also feel like when you say, what did you just say? Sorry.
Man, we've moved so fast. I'm gonna try and recall. I think it's damn.
I mean, you can play back, but whatever though.
Exactly.
I was,
But you know what? I wanted this to tie to the next thing. All right.
Okay.
What are some of those things that can retain a client? And I think it's next on our board.
oh, we're talking. Oh yeah. Okay.
It's like the idea of a perfect restaurant or a perfect destination or perfect service.
Yeah.
Right? Like
True.
there's those elements that come together.
True.
And you can't separate them. And it becomes this package. It's almost like you're selling a package. Or like you walk in,
True.
you get this.
Yeah.
After that, there is a second course. There's an amuse bush here and there. Who knows when there's gonna be like a round of shooters that's gonna go around.
Yeah.
For your case, it's just a random itinerary that wasn't disclosed.
True. Until touchdown.
Exactly. It's like, what are we doing here?
I
This
know.
is so
I
good.
know. I know. Are we walking now?
And every single experience becomes so magical because
Yeah.
it's, I mean, let's unpack that.
I think there's a lot involved. You know, because basically there's no perfect restaurant.
There is,
You know,
hey.
because there's never perfect service. But I feel like there's still things that, you know, could help, you know, build that idea to the customer. Like, I'm in the perfect spot right now.
I mean,
Yeah.
we can just flip up the saying, beauty belongs to the beholder to perfect. Beauty is
Yeah.
perfection anyway.
True.
And I think
True.
there's such a thing as perfect. It's just
Yeah.
as the too much opinions.
Yeah, there's a lot. You know, there's a lot involved. Let's say somebody hypes up this new spot, you know, somewhere, some, you know, high-rise building. You walk in there with high expectations. Then, you know, you leave there with, you know, out of 5, 2.5 rating from
Yeah.
yourself. And then you go to this other place with zero expectations, you know, because you just need a meal.
Yeah.
You walk in, they recognize you, ask you how you're doing this evening. Do you have a reservation with us? Like, would you are you dining alone? Somebody joining you? You know, just, you know, basic conversation, but it's really what we're looking to.
Exactly.
You know, you came along, but when is somebody joining you? You know, that is very key.
Yeah.
Solo diners like when they're asked about that. You know,
It's very key.
yeah, because sometimes I'm trying to, you know, put my laptop on the table and do everything. So I think there's a lot involved. The setup of the outline of the outlook or the ambience, the music, like the flowers and everything. There's a lot that these things make you create that feel in your head. Like, you know, this is the spot.
If I may ask, how much of a place being perfect is tied to the brand communication? And do you think people consider that? They're like, the way I've seen this brand, everything needs to tie to that. If there's a disconnect, it better be very deliberate and has it's a means to an end.
Forgivable situation.
And how many of those guys do you think actually understand the brand?
I think that's where you really should start.
Yeah.
I think I think that should be any advice to, you know, from the brand owners to whoever's doing the hiring, and I don't want to say firing, whoever's doing the hiring.
That's the other side of the coin.
Yeah,
You
okay.
can't
So you
hire
gotta
if
flip
there's
it
no
to a-
open
yeah,
spaces.
Facts. I think because they really have to instill that in you. You know, because they're very different brands. Of course, the message is the same.
Yeah.
We still under the same roof, but there's a way we're trying to package our products. There's a way we're trying to package our services and everything. So I still feel like they really should instill that from the get-go. The minute you walk in, you should feel like a guest here. You know, you shouldn't. I think the minute you walk in as somebody who's potential, like let's say you're bringing your peppers in, you know,
Yeah.
whoever you meet the first and ask them for leads, I think the way they treat you should make you feel like I want to treat people like this.
Exactly like
You know,
Yeah.
even before they sit you down in a boardroom and tell you what we're about.
And you're
But
like-
you should be able to see.
You'll be
it.
like,
you know,
you're about to say like, I know what you guys are about.
Yeah.
Let me just let me give it out the way I know
Yeah.
how. Let me explain it in the layman's
Exactly.
terms.
Yeah.
And that reminds me of there once was this service provider. It's very unique. I mean, of all the people that walk into a restaurant and say they want to supply something, this guy wanted to supply scents, and I looked at him and I'm like,
okay.
you think this place
What?
stinks that much?
Vanilla
Would-
Tuesdays. You know
I like
what?
Vanilla Tuesdays.
Okay.
This is it. All right. So apparently,
Yeah.
the senses, the whatever receptors in your brain, form part of a wholesome experience when you're in a place, and
How
they
does that prove
know
that,
that. And there's been experiments that have been run where a certain type of music with waves crashing
And frequencies.
and
Oh,
exactly.
I know what you're talking about now.
And we got you don't get to feel the scent, but it's been piped like music. So that they're serving seafood and all of a sudden you feel the freshness of the ocean.
Yeah, true.
Obviously it's
I
not
see
the
that.
actual ocean because it
True.
smells like crab.
No, we're miles away.
Yeah, exactly. But you feel this ocean spray or something.
True.
And all of a sudden these oysters slap. Think of a coffee house and they have coffee scents.
I know. Oh, okay. I see.
And
You know,
all of
walk-
a sudden you just like, I really need that cup of coffee.
Yeah.
Can't say the same about a steakhouse. You know, aged meat might not necessarily be very,
Very,
very
I know, when it comes
welcoming.
to scent. That's true. It's a matter of how it looks like. you know.
exactly, and,
Yeah.
and how it tastes. But
True.
that is also part of the picture perfect thing that I think also some of the tricks that people don't know they're being subject to.
Yeah. Literally everything we're mentioning just is what makes a perfect restaurant. Because I believe the perfect restaurant, the perfect destination, stay, wherever, is all created in your mind.
Yes.
Because all this is based on, that's why you see people, do a long ass review and it's all positive. And they're narrating every single bit. What they did Tuesday, Monday, the next after. It's just, I think it's all in your mind. Because
Yeah.
as the providers, 1-2 days are never the same, bro.
I know.
I mean, I think it's I have places to be today, I'm trying to rush, whoever's supposed to relieve me on this shift, there's a lot involved. So I might not, be 100% while I'm 30 minutes to clock out. I'm sort of tuned out. It's just the facts,
There's the guest who was so attuned to it, but I thought they may have had a background in service.
Okay.
They noticed a change in the quality of a drink. And when I went to explain it, they looked at me and said, it's the shift change, right?
New hands.
I was like, you didn't hear this from me, but guilty as charged.
Yeah.
I think the
Yeah.
guy that came with so much energy, they shook the alcohol out of the...
Bro, it happened.
It does.
happened.
You need to give it a light shake, It's just
Whatever
finesse.
the case.
Yeah, exactly.
As a, I can't say a former barista because I still brew coffee here and there.
yeah.
Bro, if let's say we were changing shifts and one of my colleagues walking, the relievers at the time, shouts to Maria and Vic. Yeah, big shouts to them. There's if a drink order comes and it's the same drink, let's say you made like whatever, like a caramel latte or something with whatever syrup the guest wish. They will ask you to make the third drink or second drink before you leave. They're not. It's not that they're not qualified, but there's that touch.
Just
I believe.
Let's not lose that Midas touch.
No.
Yeah.
And even that touch also has the energy.
Momentum.
Yeah, like who's the shift leader? What's happening here? Like who's setting the tone?
Oh my
Like,
goodness.
We have back of the house. Like who's doing this?
Wait a minute.
Like it all depends.
This is
bro.
a rabbit hole. We're not going to peel the layers back.
Yeah.
Because, dude, even the guy at the very back decides how good the experience is going to be.
Bro, every single bit of it.
It's such a
Every
chain.
sing-
If you break a link,
Yeah.
forget about it.
Yeah.
That whole thing is broken. And it just becomes an imperfect picture.
Yeah.
Yeah, but... True.
Yeah.
But, like...
There's a funny comment I ever had one time. I can't remember when. I think it was one of those, short briefs before you guys, enter, go to the floor. And then, somebody just trying to preach the teamwork out.
I
and
know.
says, bro, you can't do this alone.
No, but
Love me or hate me, bro, you can't do this
You
alone.
can't
You
do
know,
this
so
alone.
that's the one of the best ways to preach teamwork out there. And I think also teamwork will contribute to the destination or anything being perfect, because whoever booked the trip is not the tour guide, is not the chef, is not I don't know, whoever. But I still feel it's not the guide when we go to the museum. It's not. It's literally they don't play all that.
I love
Yeah.
teams. You are a sports fan
Yeah.
and a critic.
Very.
You understand the role each team player has.
Should play.
Problem is the goalie dribbling all the way half.
You
What
know.
the what the what?
Yeah.
And then you're like, no
Clearly.
way, this guy is. The problem is all of a sudden,
Yeah.
the captain is making certain decisions that don't really seem to add up.
Yeah.
All right, based
I see.
on you're just doing too much. And man, it's such a. And I think in leadership, we need to have a discussion and maybe a topic about leadership, because I think half of that is kind of letting go, nurturing the team players to playing their role so perfectly.
Yeah.
So that the points of transitions are so seamless, you can't tell.
True. That's a fact. Yeah. I mean, go away for 2 years, come back. I mean, still hits you the same.
Yeah.
You know, going back to that $1 burger. You know.
I mean, like, you could be anywhere
Yeah.
around that place
You
with
know.
$1.50 and you know you have a meal.
Yeah, this is no ad, but I love one of those, Corona extra ads. Some la player awaits and enjoy some of the ads on TV.
Hold on, I've not watched that. There's only a Corona ad that I watched, and it was a billboard that forms the shape of the bottle as the sun sets.
Ooh, I think I've seen that.
You've seen
I've
that, right?
but
Oh,
from
so
way back,
genius,
yeah.
man. Yeah, it's from
Yeah.
way back. It's from way
Yeah.
back, yeah.
Yeah, even with the hat, they always trying to give you that feel. I think generally with any drink, how when they pop it and if it's like, CO2 in there, how the bubbles and everything,
You get
they
the fizz
always
and all
try,
that.
put it in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now that we already have our retained guests and our new clients,
Yeah.
they like what is going on in our place. It's perfect in their mind. It's perfect, all right?
Yeah.
So perfect, they can't help but share a review. How much should we trust this? Because the people who are new
Yeah.
are going to go off of
Yeah.
the based on someone else's perfect
Yeah.
perception.
I'm one of those people,
Yeah, because you
Yeah, I
see,
think
like-
I narrated a story, I think not on this podcast, of me going to one of the offices in town, just trying to look. I know service might be sluggish,
Yeah.
so heads up, I'm trying to look at the Google reviews,
Yes.
trying to see what are people saying. Should I be here at 9,
Oh, yes.
Like, should I be the first person? They're always heads up and things like
Exactly.
that. So I
Yeah.
think people will always value reviews with highest regards, with the benefit of doubt that you've been there.
yeah.
You ordered that thing from, whatever delivery, it came home and, the pizza doesn't look all round like it should.
Exactly.
It's not the rider's fault.
Just leave the riders out of this. Those guys,
that's totally different.
And
Yeah.
shout out to them, because imagine they're the bridge between you and the product, and they have to jump all these obstacles that
Yeah.
you'd rather pay a convience fee for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I see.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
see.
I,
Nice.
I've grown to take reviews with a grain of salt, because some can be disingenuous.
True.
And I've also learned that a review so good mostly is given in person and doesn't end there,
Yeah.
because it goes out like wildfire.
Yeah.
And you can
Yeah.
almost see this in action when, in my case, a day like this, and it could be very, very common that it's the same diners everywhere, the same people that go out everywhere, the same revelers. But I find it very interesting that 3 tables would know each other, and none of them discussed about being at that place at that time. So it means it's a word of mouth, and it's a certain form of review
True,
that they
true.
trusted.
Yeah.
And they all found themselves at the same
Yeah.
place at the same time.
Yeah.
And that is also a review on its own. They'll be like,
Yeah.
oh, we had such a good time. But then they're not going to say we met people we
Yeah.
knew. But that is going to form part of the experience, which I
Yeah.
think it's going to be.
It's fucked.
Yeah.
It's sort of a validation,
Yeah.
I've heard of this place, man. Buddy, what do you think? Should I?
mean-
Should I? I think it's you always need a second opinion.
I think with that, we have ourselves a show.
Yeah, that's just right here, that there. But I'd like to take the review up on the next episode.
I don't think we're
If you're
done.
down for that.
Yes,
Yeah,
I
we're not
am.
done we're not done with the reviews.
We are actually supposed to pick one review
Yeah.
anonymously,
A
read it
positive
out.
one and a negative one. I'm
Yeah,
down for.
you want to know what I think? We need to have a fishbowl
Okay.
with a ruffle,
I'm down for it.
and we just do, you know,
Nice,
the whole thing, and then we
nice.
pick it up, and then you're like,
Yeah.
so whatever happens, happens. That way, we had no expectations,
We go with what's on the table.
and therefore we weren't disappointed.
I like that.
All right,
It's a wrap, man.
yours truly, Hep,
Uncle Barry was here.
and that's at your service. We're getting